Hi Andres, just a quick recap of all the key points that we've covered so far in our sessions as promised. First of all, we changed your approach to, this was very early in the process, we changed your approach to how you push the weight forward. Previously it was very much pelvis forward, and that was allied to handle up and forward, which was then leading to some issues, P1 to P2, and certainly they're drifting off at the pelvis during the takeaway. We changed first of all the manner in which you put the weight forward, and we did it by flexing the lead knee so that both centres stay on top of one another as opposed to separating. This movement forward with the pelvis is good for some people. You don't happen to be one of them who needs it. Once we put the weight forward courtesy of the lead knee flex, we also dropped the handle. In doing so, you ended up a little bit close to the ball, so we just need to push that away. And a good baseline is to have the butt of the club at the belt line, and I would say in your instance slightly below, but have enough gap to pass your hand between the butt of the club and your body. We don't need to be pushing the club up and forward excessively in your case, because you have no problem getting the club on the inside, and you have no issue in not creating enough power, not creating enough turn, etc. during the backswing. So weight forward courtesy of the lead knee flex, handle down a little bit, which is adding some accumulator 2 rather than unloading accumulator 2 at P1, which will then have a knock-on effect in the takeaway. And once you've done that, we talked about feeling like you're turning in front of the ball. Now that's obviously an exaggerated move, but it's the complete opposite of what we would normally see from P1 to P2, and that's when the neck tilts get a little bit out of kilter as well. Feeling like you're always turning in front of the ball. It's just a change of mindset, really. Now once you've done that, we started to discuss the accumulators and how loading the accumulators in a certain way or not loading them will have an effect on where the club goes during the backswing. And we talked about how the backswing really is an exercise in loading the accumulators, extending and side bending. Yeah, there's some turn in there, but that's usually a byproduct of the other things that you're doing anyway. And we said that really what we want with yourself is we want the accumulators fully loaded by P3, and then from P3 to P4 the accumulators travel courtesy of the extension and the subsequent side bend that offsets the extension. So fully loaded at 3, and then turning, tilting, extending from 3 to 4. We don't want to see any excessive lifting or loading of the accumulators from P3 to P4. Once we've done that, we started to talk about what you need to do from P4 to P5.5. 4 to 5.5 for you, Andres, is an exercise in getting back into flexion. Learning to get back into flexion also needs you to control the lead arm, because what we saw was as you got back into your forward bend more, the lead arm and the shaft came out in front of you too much. And we did a number of things. We put the cane down on the mat and said try and match the arm up, and you weren't having a great time with that. And then you felt like if you turned into your left arm a little bit more, or kept the arm back a little bit more. And basically the checkpoint that we want, irrespective of which way you do it, is to have at P5 the lead arm angled in about 20 degrees and the shaft hitting the middle of the right bicep. Once you're in this position, you don't need to shallow the club out excessively from 5.5 to 7, which is why we're starting to see the right heel lift less. The reason the right heel lifted so much previously was because you were very steep at 5, shaft moving onto the left forearm at 5.5, and from there we've got to shallow it out. You were using the extension, which is the lifting of the heel, the leveling out of the pelvis, the pulling away of the chest to shallow that club out. You can see how low the club gets really quick. Problem is now you feel like you're going to hit excessively out to the right, and what you were athletic enough to do was really pull the club across you in the exit, but that was leading to a really short arc through swing and a lead wrist that would extend and sometimes roll as well. So what we talked about then was that if you're shallower at 5, shaft gets onto the right forearm at 5.5, slightly inside the hands at 6, the heel will start to stay flat on the ground because it doesn't need to lift, you don't need to tuck the hips, you don't need to pull the chest away because we're coming in shallow anyway. And from there now you can start to hit out for longer. And the feeling for that was that at P8 to P9, feel like you're going to have the butt of the club further away from your longer arc as opposed to a shorter arc in the finish. A lot of the stuff you're seeing in the comparisons is a knock-on effect of something else earlier in the chain. So keep applying the same drills. You're going to be really surprised how things start to look in sort of early February when we get together on Skype next, or FaceTime should I say. I'm really happy with the results so far. I think the comparisons that we did just before Christmas, you can tell by the reaction of some of the guys online in the forum, are really good. That's going to give you a boost obviously in your confidence. And now it's just a case of more of the same, bedding those changes in, getting to refine them, and you'll have questions no doubt over the next 4 weeks. Just fire them across. But I don't want to start adding more information. We might add detail to the information that we've already discussed, but I don't want to really add any more general information or changes at this stage. I just want you working on the same drills, same feels. That may change from day to day. Some days you might have to focus more on that turn in front of the ball because you've been feeling like you've been drifting off. Other times you might really be able to get into what's going on from 4 to 5, 5.5 and onwards. Yeah, it doesn't matter, it's all part of the process. Just keep plugging away, same drills, same feels. Like I say, touch base whenever you like, and over the new year I'll start putting some dates aside in February where we can get together again face to face and discuss and look at the changes that you've made. Thanks very much, thanks for your efforts and great progress.